Today's strategy we're talking about is the elimination method when solving a system of equations. So these two systems have something in common. Either their x variable or their y variable is the same in each of the equations. Like this is a negative y, or we have opposing negative 4x and the opposite positive 4x. So we can actually add or subtract equations from each other in order to eliminate a variable. So when they have the same sign, the matching variables, when they have the same sign, we're going to subtract the two equations from each other. And when they have opposing sides, we're going to add them. The reason for that is negative 4x plus 4x will be 0, so that'll all go away and we'll just be left with the y's. And the reason for subtraction is negative y minus negative y is also 0. I'll write it up here. Negative y minus negative y. This becomes adding a positive, which then equals 0. So, same sides, we subtract. Different sides, we add. So, we're going to treat each of these as their own subtraction problem. So, x minus 7x is negative 6x. Negative y minus negative y is 0. 3 minus negative 3 is positive 6. Okay, now solve for x. X is not an x. X equals negative 1. So again, we're always looking for a coordinate. So if we have x equals negative 1, let's solve for y. I'll probably plug it into that one. Negative 1 minus y equals 3. Add 1, negative y equals 4. So then y equals negative 4. Since I chose the top equation to solve for y, I'm going to plug both into the original bottom of equation and make sure my coordinate works. So 7 times negative 1 minus parentheses negative 4 equals negative 3. So negative 7 minus a negative becomes plus, and negative 3 equals negative 3. So that, is the right coordinate. That's where the lines would cross when graphed. So that was when the variables have the same sign and we subtract. Now how about when the variables have opposing signs and we add? Again, we treat them, each term as its own addition problem in this case. Negative 4x plus 4x is 0. Negative 2y plus 8y is 6y. Negative 12 plus negative 24 is negative 36. Divide each side by 6. In this case, y equals negative 6. So we're going to pick one of these equations and substitute in y is negative 6 to solve for x. I'll just use the top one. Negative 4x minus 2 times y, which is negative 6, equals negative 12. Right, negative 4x plus 12 equals negative 12 minus 12 from each side. Negative 4x equals negative 24. Divide each side by negative 4. Negative 4. You get x equals positive 6. So we have x is 6 and y is negative 6. And now we're going to check it in the second equation since we used the first equation already. So 4 times parentheses 6 plus 8 parentheses negative 6 equals negative 24. So 24 minus 48 equals negative 24, which is true. So that is the right coordinate. That's where they would cross on the graph. Take a moment, you can pause the video, check out your notes, make sure you've taken some. And now I'm going to let you guys try some on your own. So pause this video, Decide whether you're adding or subtracting. All right, let's get started. Since these are opposite signs for the same amount of y's, I'm going to add the equation because that'll make the y's disappear. 4x plus x is 5x. Y minus y is, or y plus negative y is 0. 2 plus 3 is 5, so x equals 1. Now let's solve for y. I'm going to use the second equation. 1 minus y equals 3. Subtract 1, negative y equals 2, so y equals negative 2. So the coordinate that we think they cross at is 1 comma negative 2. Of course, we're going to check that. And I'm going to use the top equation since I used the bottom equation to find y. So 4 times parentheses 1 plus negative 2 equals 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2. 2 equals 2. So that is correct. As for this one, we're going to subtract the equations from each other because they have the same sign. Negative 9y and negative 9y. Parentheses. Negative 2x minus negative 4x is positive 2x. Negative 9y minus negative 9y is 0. Negative 25 minus negative 23 really is negative 25 plus 23. So we're going to have negative 2. So then x equals negative 1. Pick an equation, the top one, and solve for y. So negative 2 times negative 1 minus 9y equals negative 25. This is 2 minus 9y equals negative 27. Subtract 2, negative 9y equals, oops, I already did the math in my head before writing it. Negative 25 minus 2 is negative 27. Divide each side by negative 9, and you get y equals 3. So the coordinate we think it is at negative 1 comma 3, and we're going to use the other equation to check. So that'll be the bottom one. Negative 4 times negative 1 minus 9 times 3 equals negative 23. This will be positive 4 minus 27 equals negative 23, and negative 23 equals negative 23. Check your work with mine. Pause the video right here.